All right. Hey, we've got more news to get to. What's going on in Canada? The Canadians right now, you guys are setting up illegal immigrant camps in Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal. Yes, your Trudeau government is now setting up migrant camps so that when all of the floodgates open and the millions of illegal immigrants pour across the border, Justin Trudeau's wide open border policy is going to be able to house all of them there. We're going to talk about Canada in a second. Canada is already facing a migrant crisis, but appears to be blaming President Trump for the waves of illegal immigrants pouring into that country. Now Canada is building I say temporary, but probably permanent shelters to house illegal immigrants like these in Ottawa. Watch.
The sprung structures plan for asylum seekers continues to cause intense debate from residents in Ottawa.
Transparency was a word that came up often at a rally in Canada today. Residents say they have a lot of questions and feel shut out by the city, saying they were never consulted about the plan to build the sprung structures. On the other side of the debate, advocates in support of the refugees say the plan is the best way forward. The first planned to go in near the Nepean Sportsplex, and the second here at 40 Hearst Way if needed. This is the second consecutive weekend of protests here, with many saying there was no consultation or transparency from the city. And those in favor of the city's proposed plans say these buildings are crucial.
So what's going on here? Let's ask David KRAYDEN, who writes at the Post-Millennial, independent journalist, and who has a great YouTube channel, KRAYDEN'S Right, from Ottawa. David, so these structures are popping up all over Ottawa. What do you make of this?
I make of this is Trudeau's response to the border crisis. In the last week, of course, he hasn't been around for quite a while, but his deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland, was asked about it, as well as the foreign affairs minister, Melanie Joly. They both stared into the camera like a deer into headlights when they were asked these questions, because they pretended they really didn't know what was going to happen. They just understood that it's a different world now that Donald Trump is the president-elect and will be president in 2 months minus 1 day. But so what are they doing? We're building tent cities in Ottawa. We've already got tent cities underway in Toronto. We've got food banks across the country, for that matter. But what is going to happen to all of these millions of illegal immigrants who are going to be deported from the United States? And right now, as Tom Homan told them, better get ready to go now. Better leave now or self-deport before we deport you. They're doing so, Clayton. They're coming up from the border as I speak. New York, Vermont, through into Quebec, through into Ontario. We are going to have we're going to have 2 tent cities in Ottawa built. They're actually being called sprung buildings. But this is Trudeau's response. We're going to see them in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. This is exactly how Trudeau responded to the last illegal immigrant crisis in 2017-2018, and this is how he's going to respond this time. The funny thing is, he's on the air on his YouTube channel talking about he has a new immigration policy. He's going to cap immigration. The facts are he's going to reduce immigration by exactly 2,400 people over the next year and a half. That's what it amounts to. But he's not even addressing the illegal immigration that's going to be a consequence of Donald Trump's deportation policy. Because, I talked to J.J. Carroll, who we both know, and I've had him on my show as well, and he's been on yours so many times, talking about the illegal immigration problem in the United States. When I asked him about, well, what do you think is going to happen when Donald Trump starts deporting these people? He said, well, they're probably going to go to Canada. And that really got me thinking at the time, because yes, why would they want to go back to Mexico or Nicaragua or Guatemala or China, where some of them are coming from? Come to Canada. Justin Trudeau in the past has said, we have an open border. We have an open refugee policy. Come to Canada, all refugees of the world. He hasn't said that again, but he doesn't need to, because the resonance from that incredibly horrible posting on what was then Twitter is still out there. And so we're going to see mass illegal immigration in Canada. And the response from the Trudeau government, I'm afraid, is not going to be to seal the border. It's going to open their arms again to this problem. So we're watching it happen as we speak.
Well, according to President Biden, illegal immigration is the hallmark of goodwill. It is the diversity is our strength, right? So Canada is about to become incredibly diverse. You're going to have millions of illegal immigrants from Nicaragua and Honduras and Haiti and China. I mean, it's going to be remarkable for Canada, right? I mean, this is a good thing, according to Biden and Trudeau.
Well, and that's exactly what Trudeau's mantra is: diversity is our strength. Well, it's maybe true to some degree, but illegal immigration is not anybody's strength, because that
Right.
leads to the erosion of a country. You cannot be a sovereign country without any borders, which is, of course, why Donald Trump was reelected on November 5th, 2 weeks ago today. That's the lesson.
Are Canadians now basically, the media there, are they trying to blame President Trump for this? Like it's somehow Trump's fault that illegals are just coming across Canada's wide open border as if Trump controls Canada's border. He's not even president of the United States yet.
The mainstream media in Canada continues to demonize Donald Trump as a catastrophic political event. But I don't see the same degree of blame for the immigration problem, largely because the Trudeau government has admitted it's screwed up immigration badly. This has been one of their latest tenets. I've never seen Trudeau admit to anything as much as he has lately about him not understanding mass immigration, the consequences of mass immigration, the fact that there are no jobs for these people, there is no housing for these people, that the population has been rising too fast. His solution, unfortunately, though, is only not even a half measure. It's a quarter measure. It's not sufficient, and he's not looking at illegal immigration. I don't think Trudeau is getting any leeway here from even the mainstream media in Canada. It's impossible to blame Donald Trump for our immigration problem when the Trudeau government is admitting it's a large part of the factor here.
Who's going to pay for all of this? I mean, is Canada doing very well right now, solvency-wise? I mean, everyone's got great health care and no doctor shortages, and housing prices haven't skyrocketed, right? I mean, everything's going great up there right now. Inflation is totally under control. So, I mean, I'm sure Canadians are just happy to foot the bill for these millions of illegals that are about to pour into Canada, right?
I hesitate to think what's going to happen when this flood truly begins, because what they're doing in Ottawa, for instance, is co-locating these immigrant camps right next to a center where kids are skating and swimming. Now, is that a recipe for disaster?
That'll go well.
Once again, these are going to be unvetted people coming into the country. And we know what the experience has been in the United States, where criminals are getting across the border. Sexual predators are coming across the border. What are they going to be doing? Camping out in an area where kids are going to use a swimming pool and a skating rink. Now, this is a recipe for disaster, for catastrophe, but it seems to be in keeping with Justin Trudeau's warped vision of the world, his complete delusion right now. All he cares about right now is Justin Trudeau retaining power as leader of the Liberal Party and as Prime Minister of Canada. He knows his days are numbered.
Well, before we get you out of here, I wanted to play this little clip, because this was he's over. Where is he right now? Where is the G20? It's in
Brazil.
Brazil, yeah. So down there in the warm weather right now, and this was Justin Trudeau just the other day talking about, people in Canada struggling to buy groceries right now, and same in the United States, grocery prices skyrocketing, but it doesn't matter. Grocery prices don't matter. Here's what Justin Trudeau said should be the top priority. Watch.
We're delighted to have Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. It's widely known that your government has been a leader on climate action, both at home and overseas, right?
Well, first of all, we've known for decades now that in order to build a strong economy, we have to be protecting the environment. The challenge we're facing right now is that the direct pressures on individuals and households, the affordability crisis, being kicked in the teeth by inflation around the world over the past few years. It's really, really easy when you're in a short-term survive. I got to be able to pay the rent this month. I got to be able to buy groceries for my kids, to say, okay, let's put climate change as a slightly lower priority. We can't do that.
Forget about grocery prices. We got to save the environment. That is the most important thing. That's the existential crisis of our time.
Well, is that not indicative of where Justin Trudeau's priorities are? This astounded people. I saw someone this morning and I said, did you see Trudeau's comments? Oh, you mean about how it's more important to fight climate change than it is to pay for the groceries? This man is not living in the same universe as the rest of us. He's never wanted for a meal. He grew up in a privileged atmosphere, the son, apparently, of a prime minister, never had to ask for anything, but he has no cognizance, he has no comprehension of how some Canadians are going to food banks right now and can't afford their meals, and really don't give a damn about fighting climate change with his carbon tax, which is driving the price of food through the roof, which is driving the price of gas through the roof, so they can't even afford to go to work.
Madness. The end of the Trudeau regime cannot come soon enough. To all of our Canadian viewers, my heart goes out to you up there. Please get this guy out of office. David Crayden, great to see you as always. Thanks for keeping them honest up there in Ottawa.
Well, we do our best, Clayton, and thank you for keeping the world honest.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks so much, David.
You stay classy, planet Earth.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Don't listen to Justin Trudeau. We need this kind of attitude in Canada right now, because let me tell you, Justin Trudeau will fight tooth and nail to stay as leader of the Liberal Party and as Prime Minister of Canada, and he will use every trick in the Liberal handbook to do that. So we have to be vigilant, and we have to have perseverance to fight this battle to the end. As I've been saying since this station went on the air, we need to resolve to resist. And we need to fight for our free speech and our democratic rights to say what we believe, to speak, as John Diefenbaker said. And don't forget that t-shirt that's available out there in the store. I speak as a free Canadian, free to speak, free to believe in what I choose. And Justin Trudeau is not going to interfere with that. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right Resistance, and we'll see you again soon.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.